What up, what up, what up, y'all? Late night stream. Hot ass weather, but it's alright. I like the heat. I don't know where y'all from, if y'all feeling this heat wave. But in Boston, it's cooking right now. Testing out new things with the new setup right now. Setting up new screens, learning the software a lot more. I had a dope conversation with the homie Matt. Shout out to the homie Matt. Just trying to elevate the quality of the stream, try to put out a better quality product, and also allow you guys to feel like you're growing with me in this thing. Added some screens, things like that, boom, little things like that. But yeah, see Tavarish finally dropped a video, ironically, the week before. I'm not saying that he heard me, but, we was wondering what was going on with the P1. So right now, honestly, just finished up doing some edits, listening to some music. We're gonna check out the P1 video and kind of do a reaction with it, see what's going on. I gotta find shortcut keys for these to swap. I'm pretty sure there is, but we'll get there, chat. We'll get there.
E1, but it didn't always look like this.
Because when I got this car, it was absolutely trashed in the worst way imaginable. It was flooded in salt water, which meant we needed to take out every rusty bolt and panel and build it back up from scratch. But as if that wasn't challenging enough, I wanted to build the fastest McLaren on Earth. So we installed a new engine with twice the power of the original one and heard it fire up for the very first time.
It's good to see everything running smooth, and not gonna lie. I started the stream like 10 minutes ago, but I seen it was lagging, having these issues, and I wanted, like I said, elevate the quality and keep it more consistent. Excuse me. Dead tired. Long ass day. But yeah, I'm gonna keep things rolling and keep on improving. Next thing I gotta get a USB docking hub just to get more ports out of this computer. And because actually I might not need that. I think I can set up my wireless mics. Let me take a look, I'm gonna get my bag. Play this.
And while that was a big step forward, the engine we just put in had to come out again.
Because although this engine does run, the wiring was temporary. But in order for us to make it permanent, we have to remove it to make way for the scariest part of the build, the electrical system.
And that is no easy task because the McLaren P1 has hundreds of computers.
Let me tell you, I used to work on cars a lot. And wiring is not it. I don't give a shit what car it is. I'm all set, bro. Like, wiring is not fun. That's a strong pass for me.
Modules and sensors, which meant that the process of making a wiring harness was extremely time and labor intensive.
And this is the product of that labor. Now, is it complete? No. And is it tested? Also, no. But in today's episode, we're gonna do...
No bullshit, y'all. I'm gonna have to be right back. I just found out something that just made my night that much better. I'll be right back. Give me like 2 seconds. I promise y'all, no BS. Yeah, but D. I told y'all I'll be right back. Told y'all. Alright, let's check this video out.
What everyone, including McLaren, thought was impossible. We're going to have a homemade wiring harness to try to start the most complicated car McLaren has ever built. And as an added challenge, we're going to do it with all the factory computers and the original key. At least, that's the plan. This is probably impossible.
Good luck, my
I think
nigga.
this is impossible. Like, I don't see us doing this.
I believe in you.
You shouldn't.
If we're looking to rebuild this car better than the factory
love
did,
this TOS.
first we have to break it down to its core components,
long
meaning
day.
that everything has to be unbolted, inspected, and upgraded. So undoing the P1's front suspension is first on the docket. I douse the rusted steel hardware with penetrating fluid, then try to loosen as much as I can without breaking it. Since the entire assembly can come off as one unit, I remove the 8 13mm bolts holding the control arms to the carbon fiber tub. Then I remove the large 19mm hydraulic lines from the sides of the shock assembly. The P1 uses a complicated hydraulic system to link all four wheels together, instead of traditional anti-sway bars, which can make things a bit more messy. The same disassembly happens on the rear suspension, which, just like the front, is made of machined aluminum and specific to
Oh, my mother, no bullshit. This is not even no clip farming type shit. I really like watching these videos. Shout out to a member who in Tuner Status posted in the group that he just uploaded this video. And I was just like, I'm on it. I like watching build videos. Give me 1 second. Yeah, no BS. I do like these build videos. Going back to OG days, the Mighty Car Mods. For some of y'all out there that have been watching stuff like this. And it stems from days even before that with Chip Foods and all that stuff. But yeah, let's get to the video.
the P1's unique suspension geometry. After the suspension delete is done, we're left with a more or less bare shell that is very overdue for one major procedure.
Okay, now finally we can get to what I wanted to do this entire episode, and that is the wiring. Super interesting stuff, but I have to take this car off of this lift because even though the door does open, we had to secure this because, well, the car is, it's a little bit like cattywampus on here. It might fall forward, might do a backflip, and, well, we have to put it on something else. And that gives me the opportunity to kill two birds with one stone because I have had a problem in this car since I got it. And this is not a problem typical of most P1s. So this is the spoiler. And right now, it's like a rain stick. Like I can't get any of this sand out of here. All of that sand is still in parts of this car. Now we have cleaned this car probably a good 20 to 30 times.
Oh no, what happened?
So this
I bet.
is the spoiler, and right now...
I thought I messed up. I was scared.
It's like a rain stick. Like I can't get any of this sand out of here. All of that sand is still in parts of this car.
Tonight,
now we
man.
have cleaned this car probably a good 20 to 30 times while we've taken...
Been horrible at sleeping, yo. Like, I gotta figure out what the fuck's going on, man. I don't know if it's stress. I don't know if it's work. I don't know if it's life. Definitely not my kids. I'll tell you that much. My kids is the only thing I even everything out and balance everything, man, because without them, I don't even know.
Taking stuff apart and put stuff back on. And if you look at my scale model here, you can see that, well, if you have sand on a P1, there's only so much you can do when you clean it off, you know? Like, you can clean it off and then, okay, it's fine, but then if you look at the inside, there's still sand in there. Now, the idea is I should be able to clean all the sand out of it if I do this. But this is a toy, and even though this is made with carbon fiber and lightweight materials, it still is the size of a car, so it would be impossible to turn this thing upside down. I think I found a way. 1, 2, 3.
A McLaren on a rotisserie, that's why
Wait, is it gonna hit? That's a lot of sand. All right, this car is really wide. Also, it's leaking a lot. All right, so this little thing is called a rotisserie, and the chicken is gonna be my P1. And the issue is that this rotisserie was borrowed from some people that usually do like Porsche race cars, and Porsche race cars are like this wide, and a P1 is like this wide. So we have to basically max this thing out, and this is all homemade. So I think we have one more little step to go, and if we raise this up, I think we should be good to clear, and this can go all the way upside down, and then we can get all of the sand out of this car. How exciting is this that we're gonna get the sand out of this car finally?
I mean, I've tried it like 14 times
I'm
already.
willing to try to 14. I'm saying we're gonna do it now. Just be.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably be that invested too, man. You got this expensive ass car and it's literally gutted and stripped. You might as well, bro. You might as fucking well.
I promise you. You have to. You have to be optimistic.
I'm very optimistic.
Okay.
All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
You don't look optimistic now.
Rex, you ruined my mood now. Like I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore.
So I think we could just remove the side skirt.
The side skirt, the door skirt,
The door skirt, whatever you call it.
door.
Listen, man, I want to.
Door skin, bro.
We did tape the door to the, but it's also green tape, so it's. There we go. There we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
You're both pressing down.
All right.
I swear. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, look at that.
It's rolling.
Hold on.
What the hell is that leaking out of the car? Coolant.
Hold on.
There we go.
For a McLaren.
This is hard.
Okay, now I got it. I got it.
That's wild as hell. Is he really pulling that McLaren down with his chin, bro? Does he want to like?
Okay.
Oh my god. It's completely horizontal. Actually, you know what?
What?
What if we hold what? Sorry, my thing fell.
Now, it's clear that putting a McLaren on a rotisserie was not in my regular routine. But there was something that I recently added to my routine that gave me the vitamins and minerals I need for a long wrenching session, and that's today's sponsor, AG1.
No disrespect, my brother. You know what? I gotta pay respect. We watching your video. We gonna do the ad.
If you haven't heard of AG1 Next Gen, then listen up, because it is a game changer. It's a clinically studied daily health drink that combines a multivitamin, probiotic, and blend of superfoods into one scoop. And it's a comprehensive nutrition supplement that provides nutrients to support body, brain, and gut health. You'd be hard-pressed to find a more comprehensive powder or supplement on the market.
It's pretty good. Now, I like taking it because it replenishes my daily nutrients and it increases my intake of.
Oh, let y'all know I'm getting my cousin up here. We just talked a few days ago. He's gonna be up on the stream. Great guy, cool guy. He's into the car scene now. He's been doing his own backyard stuff, putting in quality work, you know, and just an all-around enthusiast. Great background. We're gonna be working together, collabing. We're still trying to put together this cooking podcast. I don't know how it's gonna work. It's a lot of work. And I'm lying, I actually do know how it's gonna work, but we're gonna pull it off. There's a lot of steps that I gotta line up, but hard work pays off. You ain't gonna see results for work you don't put in, and that's the fucking truth.
Vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. But what that means is I feel more energized and my day just gets better because I'm more motivated to do the things I love to do. And it has a ton of other benefits like improving digestion, you have fewer cravings, and it supports your microbiome. And the biggest thing for me is it gives me a calming feeling, and that is 1,000% needed in this shop with all the projects we have. If you want to try AG1, and I certainly hope you do, go to drinkag1.com/Tavarish. It's in the link in the video description below. You guys owe it to yourselves to try this out. Go check it out right now. Look at that. That is just reckless. You ever seen the underside of a P1 when it's right in front of you? Neither have I. So you can see right here all the damage that happened. And one reason why I wanted to do this as well is because I wanted to replace this. This is the subframe, and you can see even though this is aluminum, this is corroded, and the electrolysis just killed all this. So I have an actually new piece, and this is the same part number as in the McLaren MP412C. This you can find on eBay for next to nothing. Thankfully, AZ Cycle Parts had it, so shout out to AZ Cycle Parts. We had that powder coated in black, so this is all gonna go bye-bye. New panel is gonna go in, and this will also give me a chance to clean up all of this rust. All of these steel sleeves, we'll clean those up. Just leave that, but you can see where Joey did his work. Look at this, dude.
Dude, it's gonna be so much easier to clean this now.
Oh yeah. So Joey, the frame doctor, installed a new piece of carbon from the back to the front, and it's the same kind of carbon, and all this stuff it was put in very, very well. So yeah, this was just ripped this entire way, and now it's all good. So this is where the battery lived. Now we have to clean this. The battery had is real angry. But the good thing about this rotisserie is we can actually take it outside, and we can use a pressure washer and then pressure wash everything. So that will be a clean cavity. Always make sure your cavities are clean, because if somebody goes snooping, then it's clean. Look at how much sand came out!
Where did those come from?
I don't know where that sand came out. Where did that come out?
I don't know. Like,
It came out. Did it come out of the?
I think it came out of that.
But this was powder coated.
and pressure washed.
This was powder coated and pressure washed, and still.
And we dried
and yet,
ice.
there's still sand.
And
Yeah, we
yet
did.
the sand remains.
Nevertheless, the sand remained. Once this is clean,
That's crazy.
then this is going to be a lot easier to actually put the harness, the wiring harness in, and then we should be able to start this car. I mean, like, have all the electronics work. And when I say should, I mean, I hope to everything that is holy that that is what happens, because oh boy, have we been working hard on this thing for many, many, many months. And I want to see this car on the road.
With the P1's underbody completely exposed, I could tackle the only big piece of the car that had any corrosion, the front subframe. And although it is made of aluminum, the fact that the high voltage battery discharged in the very salty ocean water meant that the raw aluminum was the first to experience corrosion. I doused whatever rust I could find with another helping of penetrating fluid, then removed every bolt I could find, and that's when I ran into a slight issue. The tiny bolts on the front radiator support were held on with a thin 4mm Allen head and were seized because of the saltwater corrosion. But at the same time, the bolts themselves were too soft for me to try to remove without stripping them, which is exactly what ended up happening anyway.
I'll tell you what. Shout out to this guy for this patience, man, because I ain't got it. But once again, if you spend all that money, you're going to find a place to get it.
So this is a process
Give me
that
late night
requires
snacks. I might be
a lot
hungry.
of patience, sort of like waiting for a new P1
I'm
update.
starving.
But if you're a member of my channel, you can get access to perks
Forgive
like
me,
picture and
forgive me.
video updates, live chats, special merch, and early access to videos so you can see them before they drop to the public.
Go
And
support his
every
channel.
dollar goes to supporting projects like this one. And you can check this out right below the video where it says join. Now, removing a strip bolt that goes into carbon fiber is a bit harder than usual, because the last thing you want to do is put an extra hole in a part that has a phone number as a price tag. I carefully cut a horizontal slit into the bolt head and used an impact tool with a hammer to force the bolt loose. What this tool does is it converts the hammer hit into turning force, which should, in theory, break the bolt loose. I then found that a drill works just as well as the impact tool did, as long as you give it enough force to pinch a nerve in your arm. And with the radiator support down and mostly undamaged, I went to work removing the bolts holding the subframe onto the car, which included the steering rack mounts, power steering pump, and a few electrical grounds that were simply cut off for obvious reasons.
Certainly this is the first time the subframe has been taken off this P1. There we go. There we are.
That's crazy.
Is it connected somewhere here? It's okay. Alright.
No cap, that's when you hit that point where you're just like, fuck it, it's out.
Look at that. Yeah, she's a little worse for the wear, you know? I figure a little bit of degreaser and we're gonna throw that away.
With the last rusty part of the P1 finally off its chassis, I realized that most, if not all, of the hydraulic lines, pumps, and sensors that were on this P1 were shared with other McLarens and easily found used for not much money, despite being pretty important suspension parts on a 7-figure hypercar. And with that bit of good news, I was amped for the next step.
Now this is the part of the build that I've been waiting for a very, very long time. We're gonna try to get every bit of sand out of here. Now, I thought I would just use a power washer, but then Jack said, well, power washing might just put a bunch of sand in like corners, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. So I'm gonna use this long wand with a little, it's just a hose, and we're gonna have highly compressed air to blow out everything here, and I have this, we're in a pandemic, and I'm gonna use...
That was 5 years ago.
This was 5 years ago, so I don't know how old this is, but this is gonna be good, if this can shield me from a deadly virus, then a little bit of sand shouldn't be a problem.
Give me all.
You know? Also, it is 1,000 degrees outside. So let's see what happens. I should probably shield my eyes too. You know what? I'm just gonna do it. That works pretty good, but that's really loud. My ears are gonna be ringing. Okay. I'm gonna wear some hearing protection, and I'm gonna get Tommy some too. But you can't hear anything anymore, right?
Wait, what did you say? One more time.
Okay, there you go. So I removed my chin diaper, and now I have full PPE, and now we're gonna really get some work done.
What I've learned from this process is
this
that
thing
there's
is
no
smaller.
rule book, and I was probably the only person on the planet doing this exact job. I used some diluted degreaser on the carbon tub, making sure not to agitate with anything that could leave a mark. I used a soft nylon brush to get some discoloration and salt residue off, and then went over the coated metal lines that ran from the front to the back of the car. Although I believe these lines are stainless steel, they held up flawlessly against the saltwater bath, which is more than I can say for the aluminum valve block for the suspension. Yikes. And after everything was dry, I moved on to the P1's Cave of Wonders.
So this cavity is pretty unique to McLaren's. This is where the battery would live in any other P1. And in this one, it's seen better days, but I have cleaned it up quite a bit. Battery basically exploded in here.
Damn.
But what's good is that this carbon fiber shell actually held everything in place. And even though there was a battery fire in here, it didn't burn the car down. So that's actually really, really cool.
That's
so
crazy.
what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna take out all of the corrosion and all the battery acid and all that stuff, and make this a livable space. We could probably turn this into like a terrarium or like a little aquarium. You know, we can have fish in here. There's a little porthole. You know, the possibilities are endless. So what's funny is, see outside, this is finished.
Is it against the rules to use a napkin for Cheetos, bro? Or you supposed to lick your fingers? I was working on the Tesla earlier. Weird, I never thought I'd say that. Not much you can do to a Tesla, but I'm not gonna lick my fingers. That's how you get bumps on your tongue. And that's nasty because it looks like herpes.
Carbon fiber, and it's nice and smooth, but inside it's just the underside of carbon fiber, so there's strands of crap everywhere. The carbon fiber is just laid on top just almost randomly, and you can see that this is the other side of the mold where they peeled off the plastic. So this is the side of McLaren that you weren't supposed to see. I'm really excited, you know, just having a clean P1 without any sand. That just puts a smile on my face. We're never getting rid of all the sand, are we?
No.
No.
And you already know that.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
But hey, you get an A for effort.
There we go. Get an S for stuff.
While no one would ever see this part of the car, it's important that it's as clean as it can be, because I have some very big plans on how to repurpose it. I sprayed down the interior footwells, then scrubbed them down, and then noticed that things looked a bit familiar.
So here's a fun fact that I bet you guys didn't know. Now, the usual McLarens like the MP412C, 650S, 675LT, they all had basically variations of the same carbon tub, but the P1 was special. So the original McLaren carbon tub was called a monocell, and this was called a monocage because it had this cage element. The monocell was basically just like a half tub, and then the top part was aluminum.
I wonder how much them seats go for. Them shits is probably like 20 bands each, bro.
Or aluminium. Now, McLaren aren't going to make an entire tub out of whole cloth. So what they did is they had the regular tub, and then they just glued this top part on, and you can see where the P1 section is glued on. And you know, obviously this is different carbon, and look at that. You can just see where it's just bonded on. And I'm not saying it's cheaply done. It's very well built, but it's not necessarily 100% bespoke, but nobody is going to see this. So from like the waist down, a P1 and like a 12C are the same car. So another thing that's cool about this rotisserie is that I thought that there was like this stud in here that just snapped off. And what I found out was that I could push that into the tub, and then I can fish it out with this, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hopefully, am I gonna hear anything? Oh, I think I heard something. Oh, look at that. So this snapped off, and it took the riv nut with it, but that's okay because I just pushed it through the tub, and now I got it. So we just replaced the riv nut, replaced the bolt, and we're good to go. This is actually working out pretty good. Still a lot of sand though.
Even after cleaning thoroughly, just look at how much dust, sand, and debris was still inside the carbon tub. But even though this orange-colored stuff looked to be something possibly left over from the factory, I wanted to make sure every molecule of sand was off this car. And that meant a few more hours of standing in the hot Florida sun, cleaning my P1.
I don't think you're supposed to breathe that in.
And while I was melting, Shop Dad Jack was in the air-conditioned shop with problems of his own.
Hey, morning. So today we are going to take out all the bushings, ball joints. I already got one done. This is our end, how we want to have everything out. So the reason we are cutting is because they put it together with these little bolts, and they put red Loctite on and this little Allen head, and they strip out. And we end up breaking one ear off, cutting here. As you can see, I'm just about
Mechanic
through
type
with this
shit.
one. And once I cut it off, and then I'll push it out that way. And then we'll got two more arms there, and then we got
Buffer.
all the front suspension to
How you
do. So
figure?
here we go.
While this may look a bit barbaric, I can assure you we tried absolutely everything to remove these parts without destroying them. But McLaren's engineers felt it necessary to make life just a bit more difficult for us. With the anodized aluminum ears off the bushing, Jack used a screw-type press and removed the control arm bushings. He then repeated the process of cutting off the bushing ends with a portable bandsaw, then pushed out the insides with the press. The lower control arms required circlips to be removed, and then the hub assembly was taken apart. Now, usually you would never ever want to take a hub off with a hammer because the wheel bearing inside could get damaged. But since I'm not using these wheel bearings anyway, I gave the go-ahead for Jack to swing away. The final step was removing the ball joints, which required the use of two-pronged pullers, a hammer, and a very long punch. Now, McLaren certainly didn't make things easy, but it was no match for decades of experience and the
Low-key fire. Not saying I'll ever work on a McLaren, but just seeing that the knowledge and information he's offering here definitely would make you feel a little bit more comfortable doing something if you owned it. Because if it ain't yours, don't touch that shit. Because I
promise of a cold pack of beers to celebrate a job well done. And with yet another piece of the P1 puzzle taken down to its bare components, I laid everything on the table to show exactly how far we've come.
And here is what I'm talking about. Now, we are now, and I can't believe I'm saying this, in the final assembly phase of the P1. And that means that I can't just put on any part. The parts that I put on have to be refurbished, they have to look brand new, and they have to look a little bit better than they did from the factory. So these are the shocks, the suspension from the P1, and although these do have 300 miles on them, since they were in the water, I'm willing to bet that the seals inside are probably not great, considering, if you look over here, first of all, they're leaking, but if you look right here, the copper washers are now a nice brown rust. And these have leaked. There was a lot of pressure in the lines, and the pressure just kind of leaked out. So these are actually going to Poland to a company called Nogengast. I think I'm saying that right. And these are going to be rebuilt with OEM seals and looked over to make sure that, well, they don't look rusty and they perform exactly as needed. But if we come over here, this is something that I actually don't know if it's going to work. Now, the brakes on the P1, you see that we've already powder coated them. My friend Jonathan from Luxury Choices, they are awesome. I love the gold. I love the translucent gold on these, and they're great for the calipers. But then you go to the pads, and these are the pads for P1. And for my P1, they're really kind of rusty. These are not in great shape, but we have to reuse these, and the reason why is because the pads on a regular automobile, like the car that you have or I have or any other person would drive on the road, an expensive brake pad option would probably be $150. The front and rear brake pads on a McLaren P1 are $16,000. And these aren't any pads that you can get from any other McLaren. They are bespoke. They are custom to the P1. These are Akebono brake pads. It says right here, I don't know if you can see that, it says made in Japan. And these have a lot of life left on them, but they are very rusty because they were in salt water. So what we're going to do, we're going to take these pads, and we're going to take the parking brake calipers, because these are also not in great shape. And we're going to take the rotors. The rotors, by the way, each one is $20,000. So there's $80,000 in rotors and $16,000 in pads.
Well, this makes me wonder about, so when they do them dream car giveaways and you stuck with a McLaren, or a Huracan, and you got to fix that bitch, is that on you? Or do they give you like a warranty when you win it? Or is it just as is?
Really, really expensive stuff. We're going to take these to the dry ice lab so we can clean them, and hopefully we can put these back on the car and no one will know that the car was in a really, really bad flood.
If you're a returning viewer, then you guys know how useful the dry ice cleaning services of Scott from the Dry Slab can be. But if you're new, then welcome to what may be the most satisfying part of the video. In a nutshell, dry ice cleaning uses high-pressure air and solid CO2 to clean nearly any surface, including the corroded, insanely expensive P1 brakes. You'll notice I have 2 sets of rotors, and that's because I actually got a spare used set from a pre-production prototype from a friend. But although they weren't water damaged, the 300-mile flooded rotors seem to clean up a bit better and have more life left on them, so cleaning them up and putting them back on the car was probably our best bet. I spray the underside of the aluminum rotor hat, removing any leftover sea creature residue, and spray inside the rotor itself. The holes you see are cut in a way that balances the entire rotor and helps with cooling, since these rotors can get so hot on track they can glow red and set parts of a car on fire. With the rotors as clean as I could make them without using sandpaper, the guys at Naggingast got busy taking my P1 suspension apart and testing it for leaks. And just as we did with the rest of the car, they took the complicated hydraulic suspension down to its core components. They then pressurized the shocks and tested the electronics for the correct resistance. And as it turned out, everything was 100% functional, including the ride height adjustment, which is pretty cool to see working off the car. And with a clean bill of health, they could be sent back to me so I could install them on the P1. But I still had more to cross off my to-do list.
So next.
All right, y'all. Getting tired. I'm gonna call it a night. We'll jump back on the stream, finish up this episode tomorrow night. So I'll see y'all then. Till next time, y'all know the vibes. Stay up, stay blessed. Peace.